Hello, Jennifer. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. You guys, in case you don't wait to the very end, you guys need to check out her site, psychicmediumjenniferdoran.com. I will put it on as the title page at the end as well. And I don't know, you're probably all booked up for a long time, are you? You still have openings every once in a while come up?
No, not too
Good,
bad. No, I still have
good,
availability. Pretty
good.
close, recent.
Awesome. That is awesome. All right, now, hi, Erik. I love you.
Hi, I love you too.
I always forget, but he knows. He knows
Oh
I love
yeah,
him.
yeah. He
Yeah.
says you tell me you love me all the time. I know,
I
but I still like to
do.
hear it.
All throughout the day.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I'm trying to be better at, I think he just doesn't like to give me any signs or pranks because I'm not doing my part. I'm not really practicing channeling him. So I made a commitment to do that, but I get distracted. And if it's not on my list, I don't do it. So I need to put it in my to-do list, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to talk about two things. I don't know if we're going to break it up into two segments, but let's start out about starseeds. Erik, can you tell us something about starseeds?
Yeah. So star seeds are people who are here living a human life, but they tend to incarnate into another planet. Earth is not their favorite choice, so to speak. But they do come here for a reason and for a purpose. They tend to be very advanced souls on the other side. And they, for whatever reason, they just prefer to incarnate elsewhere.
Are there more of them coming in now, or has it been the case throughout history that all of a sudden a big influx and then back off and then an influx?
No. So what he's saying is that yes, there are more coming in now, but it's partly just because of the time, because there's more people, because there's more pathways to get here now.
What do you mean?
Because there's more people, the population's bigger, so more people are having more children.
Okay.
So there's more opportunities to come now.
I got you.
He says same with other souls. All the souls, there's more opportunity now because of the population on Earth.
Okay. All right. How many souls are there, period, in all the universes?
It feels like an infinite number.
Are there still?
I don't.
Oh, I bet it seems
Yeah,
like infinite. I got the word infinite. Are they still being created, or there's no linear time, so maybe all these infinite souls have always been there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and he says I can't count that high. My math's not that good.
All right. How can you tell if you're a starseed? I know there are things online if you Google Starseed quiz, but Erik, I want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. So he said it's really it's actually quite difficult, he said, to really know for sure if you are, because certain stuff is still blocked from you. So even though if you're a starseed and you're this advanced soul, and maybe more advanced than the souls who tend to come into Earth form, he said you're still blocked. You're still blocked. You can't have all the information while you're here. So he says it is very difficult, and there are some ways to know. He really says the biggest thing is just knowing in your soul, in your subconscious, and just this feeling that Earth is not your home. It's not when you're in a physical form, that Earth is not your choice. A lot of us walk around feeling like, we're kind of misplaced, kind of displaced. He said for starseeds, it is part of, like, hardwired into their DNA. The idea of being from someplace else is a comforting thought. It's like, okay, yeah, no wonder I don't fit in here. No wonder I don't feel like I belong here. No wonder I don't understand the human interactions and this kind of thing. It's because I don't belong here. And so the idea of it, that you're from another planet, is actually comforting. He said that's one of the biggest ways to know.
Yeah, because it explains why you feel.
Yeah.
let's go through some of the signs or symptoms or feelings. Do starseeds generally feel like lonely?
Okay, so yes, they tend to be more isolated than the average person. They do tend to be more isolated, and it truly is because they don't actually understand the interactions quite as well as somebody who's not a starseed. Now he does want to interject here real quick, and it's like he's saying, like, if your last incarnation was another planet, and then you've come here, even if Earth is like your home, in your physical form, if you've just been in another planet the lifetime before, you can have some of this stuff that carries over into this lifetime. It doesn't necessarily mean that Earth isn't your
Home
preferred
base.
choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Especially if it's like a more recent lifetime. Typically, okay, he says, like, people who are starseeds, they just it's like they tend to feel like old souls. They tend to have wisdom like beyond their years, well beyond their years.
Okay.
And they're very, very empathic. Very empathic.
Interesting. Now, when you say they feel they're isolated, are you talking about physically, like they live alone, they're kind of like hermits, or do you mean like emotionally?
No, he says not necessarily, because he says there has to be a certain amount of adapting. But even for the people who don't live isolated lives, who are out there doing things, they would always have this disconnected feeling.
Okay.
Like, even though I have friends and I have family, I just don't feel like I fit in. I don't feel like I belong here. People are laughing and joking, and you laugh and joke along with them, but you don't quite feel it. You don't quite get it. There's just this disconnect. So even if you are not living what is perceived to be an isolated or lonely life, he said you can still have that feeling inside of you.
Okay, so they don't feel really a strong connection to the human collective then.
No, he said because they don't tend to understand why we do some of the things we do, just because the souls who tend to come to Earth more aren't quite as advanced, apparently, as the Starseeds, who are very, very advanced. So our behavior can seem kind of weird to them. He says we get hung up on minuscule things, and we have a hard time seeing the big picture.
Yeah.
Starseeds tend to be able to see the bigger picture, or at least feel it, even if they can't put it into words. They can feel the immensity of life.
Okay. Do they feel like superior to humans?
He says there can be some of that. However, he said that's actually one of the reasons that they come here, is to work on that, to work on being with a less advanced kind of group of souls. So yes, there can be that type of feeling of superiority. But he says most often they're here to work on it.
Okay. Yeah. What are they here to do beside that? Are they? Why do they choose?
Yes.
Why do they choose to be starseeds? Is it just like luck of the draw? Okay, you incarnated in the Pleiades planet, or how does that happen?
Well, no, he says it's kind of like we have choices, we have options, we can go other places. And he said it's just not the luck of the draw. It is absolutely by choice. He said, this is the toughest place, the heaviest, the densest place to come. And so a lot of times starseeds truly, truly feel like they've made a mistake coming here. Like, I shouldn't be here. I don't belong here.
Yeah.
He said, no, they choose to come here for perspective. Perspective.
Do they,
on what it's
are they here to help in any way?
Yeah. So again, he says, they are blocked, so they don't have all the information when they're here. Yeah, one of the things that they're here to do is to, help to kind of spread the light, shine the light, advance the human race. But he said, they're still subject to all the human emotions and physical feelings and all that stuff. So he said, it doesn't always work, that just because you're a starseed and come here doesn't mean you're going to do everything exactly right.
Okay. All right. Do they, what was I going to say? I lost it. Okay. So how do they spread the light? You said that, Erik, but what do you mean spread the light? In what way?
Okay. So starseeds, he says, when a starseed is truly living in a way to spread the light, they tend to kind of live outside the box. They tend to do things that for most of us seem so brave or so daring, or I can't believe that you're comfortable doing that kind of stuff, because it's like more to get to the masses, just to thin the veil, to realize that there's more beyond here. Okay. A lot of the alien stuff in general, the people who talk about it and have alien interactions are starseeds.
Oh, wow. Being a starseed, does that mean that was your first planet that you were on, or does it mean that's the place you incarnate on, that planet you incarnate on the most, and you prefer it, or all of the above?
So how Erik is putting it is, he's like, it doesn't necessarily mean it was the first planet, but it is your preference and the one you go to most.
Okay.
So it's like how he's kind of putting it is like, when we cross over onto the other side, he says, like, for people souls who prefer Earth, like even on the other side, we would have more human characteristics.
Yeah.
Whereas he's telling me that the other souls who prefer other planets will have more characteristics that are appropriate to that planet.
Okay, interesting.
So he says it's easy to know who's who over here.
It seems like people on Earth would be more comfortable in their body, not as clumsy as I am, for example. I mean, are there any physical traits that starseeds have that humans don't often have, like clumsiness or not really knowing how to work their body in time and space? Or
no, he says sometimes there can be more medical confusion with them, or complicated medical stuff that the doctors don't quite understand. The medication should work this way for you, but for some reason it works this other way. Like that kind of stuff is common in starseeds, but physically, he said, no, they look and feel and,
okay,
talk like us. But yeah, he said medical weirdness.
medical weirdness. But do they have
like is how he says it.
Any physical traits like larger eyes? I heard that Pleiadians have larger eyes, or I mean, any like Orion folks have this kind of physical trait.
Yeah, and
Sirius has
So he says yes, they do on those particular planets. He says they don't necessarily bring those physical traits with them.
Okay.
They can, but they don't necessarily. It's whatever they've decided to do on the other side if they really want to blend.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So yeah, but yes, he said yes, there can be, but no, he's not. He said not always. No.
All right, but sometimes you can tell by the way they look, and we'll go through different ones. Are any of them like? Is it much more common in different groups, like those with Asperger's, or on the the autism spectrum, or those who are mentally challenged, or people with ADHD, or anything like that?
So what he's saying is, no. He said it's across the board. every type of aspect of life. Because again, they want to experience the human experience.
Yeah.
So it's across, poor, rich,
Okay.
black, white, Asian.
Yeah.
He said it's across the board that they
Cool.
are. And literally he's like showed me a map, and
Mhm.
it's like everywhere's
Wow.
got little lights on it, which to me means that's where they are.
Cool. What percent of the population, more or less, are star seeds here on Earth?
He just said 10.
10%.
Like,
Okay.
10%.
Wow, that's not very many. Well,
No.
who in our family and circle of friends are star seeds, Erik? Including yourself, including you, Erik.
Okay. You definitely have some friends. I met one of them when I was there.
Oh, Robert?
And Carrie.
Oh, yeah, Carrie. Okay. Got it.
Yes. Direct family, he's not giving me anything on that. Direct family, he's not giving me anything. But he said you'll have one that's going to come in.
Oh, really? Wow. What about the babies that like Liam, Easton, Arlene, Harper?
He says no. He says the one hasn't come in yet. That there is going to be one that'll come in. But you have the crystal child. That's the baby that's just come in.
Okay, Liam. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Cool. Now, people told me, or Erik, to meet him, you told me that I was a Pleiadian. So that's not true?
It may very well be that you have been there.
Okay.
But he's saying, no, you do like to come here.
Okay. And be punished. I'm a masochist.
Well, and it's like he said, it really is, it's about your preference of where you go.
Yeah.
So even Starseeds might come here, he said 10, 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
Or they might come here a lot, but it's just that they go someplace else more.
Oh, okay. All right. They feel like they don't belong. Maybe they feel awkward and disconnected. How do humans view starseeds?
Okay.
Like, oh my God, they're weird. They're nerds. I mean, what?
Yeah, they can be. He said, yes, they can be off-putting. He says a lot of times a starseed, when you meet them at first, will seem odd or weird, or like he said, like you'll be having a conversation and it's like you feel confused, like are we having the same conversation? But he said if you take the time to get to know the person and get past that initial awkwardness and weirdness, then he said you can actually learn a lot from starseeds. But yeah, not always, of course, he said nothing is 100%, but a lot of times they do appear odd. They just have a weird vibe.
Okay. Like, wow, you're not from this planet.
Yes.
Sometimes you say that to people.
Yeah.
Or you think it anyway. All right. Of course, if you feel like you don't belong and you feel disconnected, you're bound to be vulnerable to different emotional, mental, and physical ailments.
Yes.
Can you list some of those? Like maybe you tend to get depressed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So depression, anxiety, and he said actually, he says for whatever reason, starseeds are prone to paranoia.
Oh.
I had no idea.
Interesting.
But it's because of the interactions that they have with others when they feel like, oh, people are kind of judging me or people are talking about me. It's again.
But they probably are though. That's the problem.
Yes. Ooh. So he said paranoia is actually quite common in starseeds. Like I don't, if you said 25% of the population experience paranoia. He said if you looked at just starseeds, he said it's more like about 50%.
Wow. Okay.
Starseeds have paranoia. Mm-hmm. Not he says not always to debilitating degrees, but they just tend to be a little bit more paranoid.
Okay.
But yes, depression, anxiety, and then of course they're still human this time around, so they're prone to all the other medical ailments that we are: cancer, stroke, aneurysms, all this kind of stuff.
Are they more prone to certain physical ailments than humans are? I mean, because of the fact that they feel so discombobulated? That's a fun word to say.
Um, no, he says other than like the paranoia and the depression and the anxiety, he said not
Okay.
necessarily, no.
Okay.
Um,
Now, suppose you have a child that comes in and you find out they are a starseed. How do you raise them? What different things do you have to do to raise
oh,
that child compared to an Earth
so
human, regular human?
what Erik is saying is, he says you still have to raise them as a human because
Yeah.
they're here for the human experience.
Yeah.
So he says, really, with other than just being open to hearing the experiences and hearing how they feel here, he said nothing, because they're here for the human experience.
Well, it seems like if they grow up, they don't understand human emotions and human relations, that in order for them not to get bullied and misunderstood, etc., it seems like some intervention needs to happen to
The
teach them.
line of communications being open with how they're feeling and how, they feel awkward and uncomfortable, and just being open to that. But he says, learning to be okay with, and it's so hard. He's like, it's so hard as a kid. He says most people, starseed or not, by the time they get to an adult, a lot more people are comfortable with who they are than when they're children. Children are never comfortable with who they are. They're always being judged by their peers. And so he said that stuff's going to happen anyways.
Yeah.
No matter what child you are in any class, he said, you feel awkward, you feel uncomfortable. And so he said,
probably not super early on. It's until they start getting around peers and siblings and
yes,
and all that, where they, yeah. Okay, yeah.
and that social structure
Yes.
sets
Yes.
in.
Um,
So really, just if you know you have a child like this, just be open, be honest, talk.
well, do you tell them you're from another planet? Usually, what do you do?
He says not. That's something that until they're like more of an adult,
Yeah.
that you don't want to, because he says you really don't want them going around telling people that they're from another planet, because
Oh God, no. Oh my gosh. Then the bullying will start. Oh geez.
yeah, that's going to make it worse. So he
No.
said, no, you just wait until they're, older and kind of open to that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's the electrician. Hey, Lucas, the electrician's here. Oh no, it's not the. Well, who is it? Maybe it's the maids. Okay. Okay. They're coming in. Don't bark. What was I gonna say now? All right. Don't you have to? They should all become psychology majors, probably, to understand humans, maybe.
Yes.
But seriously,
Yeah.
can you teach them about humans?
Oh, absolutely.
Without saying, well, you're not human. You probably don't understand these folks, but I mean, they are human, but
Yes.
But their spirit is from a more comfortable in another planet.
It's like he said, like he said it's kind of like starting a brand new job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get into this brand new job, and especially he said, think of a job outside your industry, outside of what you normally do. You've started something completely new, and you walk in and it just seems foreign.
Yeah.
And like, I'm never gonna get the hang of this, and I'm never gonna catch on to this. And then he says also, then you're thinking, well, there's more effective ways to do this, and there's more productive ways to get this job done. And so then what he says is, then,
because they think outside the box more. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
and so then, like, 2 weeks into this new job, you're kind of catching on, and like, you're kind of fitting in. He's like, it says being a starseed is kind of like starting a totally new job and a totally new career, where you feel totally outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You got the job, so you belong there, Um, but now you have to learn how to adjust where you can make changes and where you have to just kind of throw your hands up and say, okay, it's going to continue to happen like this until enough people say, let's make this change. And then it happens. So he said it's kind of like that.
Okay.
Once there's enough star seeds here making changes, small things will change.
Good. What about adults, star seeds? Do they have trouble with relationships? Like, how about their friendships? Do they have trouble making and keeping friends?
Yeah, they can. He said that they can definitely. It's like they don't tend to have a huge group
Okay.
of people, that they're close with, but the ones that they are actually close with tends to be very, very close, truly understand them.
Oh.
Truly understands them. And there's like, a couple of them. And even if they have a ton of what they would consider acquaintances, they don't have a strong bond, strong connection.
Oh, okay. What about marital relationships?
Oh yeah, he said it can work just fine.
Okay, so the same pretty much. It's like, okay. Do they tend to couple up with other star seeds?
You know what? In my head, I was kind of asking about that, and he said, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's just kind of whoever they
maybe they don't want to. Yeah, maybe they want to experience the true human experience by getting busy with the earthling.
Yeah, exactly. And he said it really just depends on what they decided the soul contract, because he said it's still soul contracts.
Okay.
Even going into other planets, it's still soul contracts.
How do they do in their careers?
Again, like across the board, all levels. Some unemployed, some top of their careers.
Okay, so it's no rhyme or reason.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Anything else on how to protect a star seed child?
Okay, so he says most people don't recognize that they have a starseed child.
Yeah.
He said it's just
unless they go to a medium and find out, maybe,
Yep.
Okay.
But he said that's still such a small percentage.
Yeah.
Such a small percentage of the star seeds that come in actually come into a family that's aware. So he said, if you're aware, then you just keep the lines of communication open.
Yeah.
Let them know that everything that they're feeling and experiencing is okay. And of course, like with anything else, if there needs to be some sort of intervention, then you get it. If there needs to be counseling or therapy or anything like that. But he said more often than not, people just don't recognize what a starseed is.
Okay. You just raise them as you would any child then.
Yeah.
If they come up with problems, deal with it, open communication.
He's saying also that starseed children tend to be sleepwalkers.
Oh my God. Lucas used to sleepwalk all the time. I remember he was a little kid. He was sleeping on a little cot next to me because he was having nightmares or whatever. He got up and just whipped it out and almost started peeing all over my treadmill next to my bed. But I intervened. Lucas, aren't you happy I put this on? Oh God, he'll never forgive me. How do starseed children pick their parents? Is it just the way any earthling soul would?
Yes, just based on what experiences they want to have and what souls will help them have those experiences.
Okay. Are a larger percentage of them light workers or not, or just saying?
Yeah. So there is a lot of crossover with some of the experiences between light workers and starseeds. So yes, it would not be uncommon for a starseed to be a light worker.
Okay, but is it more than an earthbound, an earth soul? No,
not necessarily. Okay. Not necessarily, he said, because stars sometimes really get so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That just kind of withdraw.
Okay. Okay. But they could be murderers, rapists, clergy, benefactors. They could be anything.
Yes.
Doctors, lawyers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's talk about each of the three I know. Orion. Can you tell me some of their characteristics as far as personality or even physical characteristics from those from planets in the Orion star complex or star system or whatever?
He has just said that they're very beautiful.
Oh, really?
Tend to be that's what he's saying, is that they tend to be very beautiful. I do feel a physical range from small to large.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily feel like, I feel like humans. There's a good range. Now it's interesting because I feel as though he's telling me about like when they're here. They tend to have very beautiful facial features. And he says that they glow. There's a glow. So for anybody who could see auras,
Yes.
auras would have almost as if there's like sparkles. I don't know what that is about, like sparkly in the auras.
Wow. What color are their auras?
They would take on human colors, but for whatever reason, the flecks feel gold.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yes. He said, but not everybody would see that, but he says that they're very, very beautiful. Characteristic wise, very smart, very,
they put us humans to shame. What the heck? Us earthlings.
Yes. Very, abstract thinking are the things that he's telling me.
Do they tend to be artists or, any particular profession? Or
No, he says it really is because when they choose to come in here, they want to experience all kinds of different things.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily tend to be one particular area. Sorry, he was talking about cold weather. I don't know why.
It was cold up in here, boy. It got down to 31 here in Houston. So it's everybody panics, cover the plants.
Talking about being really cold.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it must be it. Put on a sweater and some socks.
Funny. Okay, so any other personality traits for those from the Orion complex?
Yeah, it's tough because it's like this what's over there and what's here, because it's different here than it is there.
Oh yeah. So their personality can be different when they're in their home planet than when they come here, but they don't tend to have something like sarcastic and witty humor, or nothing that carries over frequently. Not always, but frequently.
No, he said it's not really like that, because it's like they're everywhere. They're in every walk of life. And there's still
all personalities,
human experiences. Yes, so there's not a specific thing. Although I do feel like the facial features translates here. The facial features, like being dainty, dainty, angular, pointy. Translates here, but personality, he said, because again, they are blocked.
Oh yeah.
Stuff. So
all right, what about the people from the star system Sirius? Are you serious?
Yeah, well, because he was, before you said serious, he said very logical, very, very logical. And then you said serious, and I just laughed. It just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Okay. A more typical body type here is a little bit heavier. They'll have a heavier set.
Okay.
A bigger,
like big bones, or of fat, or what?
Yes, like a bigger bone.
Bigger bones, big structure.
Now, he says, don't misunderstand. Not everybody who's bigger bone and heavier is from this.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
But he said that does typically translate here, and they're very logical here.
Okay.
Almost to where like what feels to me like on the spectrum a bit, where they are linear thinking and can't
Okay.
deviate easily from what their perception and their thinking.
Okay. Do they have any personality traits, like not very compromising because, of that,
Yeah,
or anything else?
yeah, they're definitely not very compromising. He said they can be very successful here, because they're just people who don't give up. They're not quitters. So when they get something in their head, even if they're told no 50 times, they'll go back for 51.
Oh,
Um,
okay. All right.
so
So they persevere.
persistence. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else about them that physically or emotionally or mentally, personality wise, that would
No,
be interesting?
no, just very, very serious. It's
Okay.
just kind of
Very
funny.
serious. That's so fun.
Yes.
All right. What about Pleiadians?
Okay. Um, what I feel like is you just shown me like somebody like dancing in the woods, like
Okay.
like spinning and twirling, what we would think maybe more of a hippie.
Okay.
Um,
So
he,
they're nature lovers.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, yes. A physical. He said no, it doesn't. There doesn't tend to be any particular physical
Okay.
stuff that comes here.
Hmm.
But yes, very in tune with nature, very in tune with the animals. Like to people who can actually communicate with animals.
Mm. Okay.
They're like a telepathic, because people who can communicate
Oh
with animals,
yeah. Yeah.
like a telepathic
Hmm.
communication. He said that is something that you would see here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else for their body? Anything?
No, I just this freedom, they have this lighter kind of energy.
Oh. What
You
about
know,
Lucas's girlfriend? She's got a free spirit. Could she be Pleiadian?
yes, she could be. Yeah.
Well, is she, Erik?
Um, he said, yeah, but she might not be ready to hear it. So,
Well, I'm not going to tell her. That's fine.
okay. So if you see this video, sorry. It was
Uh-oh.
spoilers.
What about Lucas? I mean, you told him that he was from Sirius, and that Michelle was a Syrian also, but that's not true.
Well, it doesn't see.
Or
Here's what Eric.
maybe they've been there a lot, but been to Earth
Yes.
more. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
or it could be like when you sit down with somebody who picks up on that, it may just be that the more recent lifetimes you've been there and some of that
Ah,
carries over,
okay.
you know?
It's all
So
about preference, though, right?
yes, that's what he's
I
saying.
got
It's all about preference, and Starseed's preference is not Earth.
you. Okay. What about Arcturian? Is that one? It came to my head. The Arcturian or complex, is that another star system? I don't know. Let me look it up. Or maybe it's Arcturian, Arcturus.
Yeah, he says something's
Oh yeah,
something's-
Arcturus.
yeah, he said something's a little off with the pronunciation, but
I know I can't
yeah.
be perfect all the time.
Yeah,
Arcturians. Tell me about Arcturians.
that is another one, and he said that's okay, what he's saying about that is a very diverse it's very, very diverse.
Okay.
Like Earth is quite diverse. He said this is also quite diverse. Some of the other planets, like they don't have as much of the emotional range and as much of the, well, most of them don't. He said for whatever reason this particular one has a wide range, not to the extent that you have here on Earth. They're not it's not as heavy there,
Mm-hmm.
but all kinds of personalities, all kinds of body shapes.
Okay.
Um, and for whatever reason, he said they don't come here as often
Oh, okay.
as some of the other ones, but it's like wherever it is that they do prefer to go is
Mm-hmm.
actually, he says, quite similar to Earth,
Oh, okay.
more
Is
so than other places.
is their planet kind of like Earth?
Yeah, different. He said different, but one of the most similar. One of the
Okay.
most similar, but not quite the same heaviness.
Okay.
Earth is so heavy. Earth is so
Yeah,
heavy.
tell me about it. Anything else before I ask one more question before we go on to Lightworkers?
No, no.
Okay. Uh, what famous people do we know of that are starseeds?
Um, he said it's still, if you took all the famous people, it's still about 10% of the population
Yeah,
of famous people. He said so it's still the same.
10%
Um,
of famous people.
yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Um,
Name like three or four.
oh God. Um, he's- for whatever reason, he keeps showing me Julia Roberts.
Okay.
Um, I am terrible with names, and I, honest to God, don't care at all about famous people.
Nah.
So I see faces, but I can't. Oh God, what is his name? Mr. Holland's Opus he was in
Oh
that
yeah.
movie.
Oh, Richard Dreyfuss. That one.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
He's showing me
Well,
that
maybe that's
face.
why he made that thing, Close Encounters of the First Kind and Last Kind or whatever. Maybe he's likes that alien kind of stuff because he made that movie or was in it anyway. Cool. One more.
Yeah, and you know who else he's just showed me? Is it Michael Moore? That's the documentary guy.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that Michael Moore? Is
Real
that his
heavy.
name?
Real
Yes.
heavy. Okay.
So
All
those
right.
are the ones he's given me. I apologize. I'm terrible with names. I
No,
really
you
am
did
terrible with
good.
names.
Um, this is totally out of the topic, but are there such thing as earth angels?
Yes.
And what are they?
Um,
Because some people, sometimes I've been told that angels never come into a human body, and sometimes I'm told they occasionally do.
yeah, so what Erik is making me feel is, okay, like an angel, like if you were to say Archangel Michael,
Right.
the angels don't necessarily come in and live a life from infancy to adulthood and then
Okay.
cross over. Like those are
Okay.
different beings. Earth angels, how Erik's making me feel about this is, earth angels are like very, very advanced souls that don't necessarily need to come back here
Mm-hmm.
for more lessons, but it's like they agree to come to
Okay.
be, um, oh God, he's just shown me,
To help, maybe.
yeah, to help, but what do you call that in the ocean with the boats and the big tall building that doesn't, what is that called?
What?
Lighthouse, a lighthouse.
Oh, a lighthouse. Oh, okay. Oh, I
Yes.
gotcha. It must be
So,
hard when you channel so quickly what Erik says and
yes, and I'm
pictures
like,
and stuff.
I was
And
like,
it
wait,
must
go
be
back.
hard
What?
because,
Yep.
because you're using his mind, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I have to use my mind now. Yeah.
Yes. So he says earth angels, like animals are like earth angels. Um,
Oh,
he says animals are like earth angels.
because they don't have to be here to experience the human experience. Yeah.
Right, right. So, and he just keeps showing me animals, especially like pets.
Oh, okay.
Like our earth angels. Um, but humans can come as earth angels, and it is truly a soul who comes as a beacon of light.
Okay.
Um,
Well, are many of them starseeds, or is it kind of the same as?
it is. He's, for whatever reason, he says earth angels um oftentimes don't stay very long. They don't
Oh,
stay,
okay.
not that they never do,
Yeah.
but oftentimes earth angels are the ones that pass as children or as young adults. He says oftentimes earth angels pass young.
Oh, wow.
um
Well, that's
he
a
said,
beacon of light. Woohoo! God, that's
yeah,
awful.
unfortunately.
Oh,
Unfortunately
Erik,
it is.
were you one of those? Or were you an Earth Angel?
Yeah, he says, hell yes I was.
Oh
Of
God,
course
that's
I was.
funny. You're so funny.
Yes, but yes, he truly was an earth angel.
Mhm.
um
He
and
did help a lot of people then too.
and he
Yeah.
still does.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not on earth anymore, but I still work as an earth angel.
Interesting. Anything else you want to say about Earth Angels?
Yeah, he said if you're lucky enough to know one, because he says not everybody gets to meet an Earth Angel, he said that will be a person that absolutely changes your life. And he said it can be just okay. So he's showing me I was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was driving to school. I lived in Vermont. It was very, very cold. And I was driving to school, and I was stopped because two kids were crossing in front of me. And they were probably like maybe 6 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And the 10-year-old girl looked at me and she smiled. And I'm 41 now, and I can still remember that smile. And he says that
Wow.
you met an Earth Angel.
God,
Even though I didn't
shivers. Wow.
Yeah, even though I wasn't able to speak to her, I can still, I mean, I can't do the math that quick, but whatever, 25 years ago,
Yeah.
something like that. I can still remember that smile. And he said, that was an Earth Angel that you met. That's what he's saying is when you meet an Earth Angel, years later, you can think about that experience and it would feel like love.
Cool. Is anybody in our circle, Erik, Earth Angel? Family, friends?
Yeah, he says not the baby that was just born, the one right above.
Oh, Easton?
The one right above.
Oh, I bet. Oh my God, he's just a bucket of love.
Yeah.
Wow. Anybody else?
Yeah, one of your sister's kids.
Oh, well, Laura, she doesn't know where her kids are. She lost them when they were little. But then there's Terry, Fiona. She's a grown up.
Yeah, one of your nieces. One of your nieces.
Oh, is it Hannah Denise? Laura, I think she passed away.
Hannah. Hannah's is who he said is an Earth Angel.
Hannah Denise. Is she alive?
He says she's still here.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is she okay?
He says she's
Laura looked everywhere. She can't find her children.
She doesn't want to be found.
She doesn't. Okay.
No.
All right. All right. Let's quickly go on to Lightworkers. I don't really have that many questions to ask about it. How do you know if somebody is a Lightworker? What does that look like? How are they emotionally, mentally, physically, anything?
Okay. So Lightworkers tend to go into the medical field.
Okay.
That tends to go into anything that you would be caring for others, massage therapy, energy work, medicine. That tends to be what draws light workers.
Yeah.
So he says sometimes with the medical field it's just the money. So not all medical professionals.
That's true. Yeah.
Not all teachers, not all massage therapists are light workers, but that tends to be where light workers are drawn. Light workers tend to isolate, but not to the extent a starseed would. And they are also empathic, but not to the extent like a starseed is. Erik says light workers can function better. Yeah. And they tend to really want to help people. Like they feel like it's their calling, that they need to be doing more for people, more to help people, more to bring hope. He says it gets twisted up here, he said, but a lot of your religious figures are light workers. Okay. It gets twisted up here, though. He said religion gets twisted up. But he said a lot of your religious figures are light workers.
Okay. Is it a particular kind of soul? Or just like, okay, I'm a light, but can you, or I'm a light worker and I'm going to go to Earth? Or is it like, I want to be a light worker this time, but next time I'm not going to be? I mean.
Okay. So it's interesting because what he's saying is that any soul can be a light worker. Any of us can do it. He said it's more like some of the souls can no longer not do it because of the amount of knowledge that they've gained. over their lifetimes, so that even when they come back in here, a lot of that knowledge stays with them. So they just naturally become a light worker, even if they didn't really plan to be a light worker. He says it's like harder not to be if you've got that knowledge than it is to try to.
I guess more evolved souls.
Yeah, that's
tons of crap on their plate from life after life after life, and actually chose to learn from it. Is that it?
Yes, and that's the thing he said with light workers. He said, it's funny when you were just saying that, he said light workers tend to, at least when they get older, through years of being here, they tend to be able to let go of their baggage. They tend to be able to recognize why they needed to go through the struggles that they went through. That's one of the things that being a light worker does. You know, everybody goes through struggles.
Yeah.
But he said light workers are very good at looking at their struggles and saying, okay, this is what it did for me. This is what I learned. This is how I grew.
Yeah, that's what happened to me with the child abuse. It turned into a very positive thing.
Yes.
Do starseeds tend to be, is it common for a starseed to be a light worker, or is it just any soul? I mean, it doesn't have to be location based.
Yeah, no, he said it is common for them just because they are more advanced anyways.
Okay. Yeah.
So starseeds, yes, do tend to be, whether they actually do that kind of work specifically or not, it would be something that they would just almost not be able to help but do.
Okay. Do light workers tend to have certain physical, emotional, or mental conditions?
No, he said that they don't. It can be anybody, and he actually said somebody may come into a life and not be a light worker, but he says they have like an awakening or have like a means while they're here, they can become a light worker while they're in this life. They don't. So he says you don't even necessarily have to come as a light worker. That can happen as you're here. Near-death experiences. He said if somebody has a near-death experience.
Oh yeah.
He said, forget it. Even if they weren't a light worker before, he's like, they will be after.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. But a lot of times, in between lives, when you're planning your next incarnation, you kind of decide this time I want to be somebody who helps.
Yes.
People. All right.
Yeah.
How can you tell if your child is a light worker?
Okay. Children who are empathic. He said that's the easiest thing to recognize. And they would be kids who cry easily, kids who are very sensitive, kids who are very gentle with babies and animals.
Oh yeah.
He said these are the ones that will grow to be light workers.
Okay.
The very delicate, the very sensitive child.
Do they get along more with, are real sweet to elderly people and of course animals? And
yes.
Okay, I think they got channeled.
For a 2-year-old to show compassion is not, that doesn't always happen. But yes, these children would be very, very compassionate.
And then, of course, when they get old enough, they might vocalize, I'm going to grow up to be a nurse or whatever. So what do you do? Is there anything you can do to help raise these children?
Yeah. So with children who are incredibly empathic or, light workers, they truly do feel other people's emotions, other people's sensitivities, their pain, their physical and mental struggles. They don't understand it. They don't know how to put it into words. So it's like they just need to know that it's okay.
Yeah.
That's what Erik said.
And help ground them. Tourmaline, whatever, under their mattress, or make the bracelet with the lava beads and put like patchouli or sandal or something that grounds them.
Yes.
Just watch the thing we did on empaths. It's going to be coming up. It's probably already posted by the time we post this one. So yeah, help them ground, help them protect themselves with the bubble of golden light, or to say, is this my crap or is this your crap? Right?
Yeah. And another thing that you can do, and I have actually done this with my own children, but Erik is telling me to mention it. for children who tend to be very sensitive like this, or they tend to have these nightmares and stuff, you can, at night, while they're asleep, while their conscious brain is sleeping, you go in and you just tell them, I know that you're feeling, sad, or I know that you're feeling anxious. If that's not your emotion, if that's not your sadness, or if it comes with you from another lifetime, you're protected against it, and we can help you, and you're safe. And those are good things to do. We got to do it so that you're getting the subconscious mind, the unconscious.
Subliminal messages.
Yes.
Like the Sylvan mind control. Remember that?
Yes.
What percentage of the population you think are light workers, Erik?
Oh, he actually says it's more like 50 to 60%.
Wow.
Because he said it really, but the shift is noticeable in our lifetime. A lot more people have opened up to this. For any of you who out there who talk about this kind of stuff, more often than not, people understand or have had an experience or want to hear about what you're talking about. And, Erik says 25, 30, 40 years ago, it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
So there really has been a shift, and it's because there are more light workers.
Yeah. So you have the shift. That's why so many are coming in as light workers, yep. Right? Yes. And I guess so many souls have become evolved to the point that then ascension or the shift is possible, because their vibration is going up, and it takes the vibration of the collective.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly right. And he said, we've been doing this forever. Is eventually, the vibration is going to come up. The collective consciousness is going to raise.
Yeah.
Because souls are just getting more and more advanced because we've been doing this forever.
Exactly. What, you think there are more kids coming in as light workers now? Like what percentage of the kids being born now, or like in the last 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, he says still like between the 50 and the 60.
Okay.
He says more people come in as already light workers than become light workers while they're here.
Oh, okay.
But people do become light workers while they're here, but it takes something major, an awakening, experience, something major to flip that switch.
But do they have to be in a career that helps other people, or can they just be people who are real sweet to other people and a shoulder to cry on, or something like that?
Yeah, they do not have to work in a career. He said you can have, an IT person who never, never sees other people at work, and that can still be a light worker.
Yeah, but it seems like those people would feel like, God, I should be doing something in my career too. And then, maybe they have dissatisfaction with their career if they're not in one that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I've seen a lot of blog members who want to go into something that helps people.
Yes.
They don't want to be a lawyer anymore. They want to, that kind of thing.
Yep, exactly. But the thing is, and I know Erik's like, I know we got to go soon, but he said the thing is that you don't actually have to get paid for what you do to be a light worker.
Yeah.
And he says most people don't realize how much they impact other people.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis. He said, so you may very well be a light worker and don't do anything in a career that you feel like you're a light worker, but you may interact with the person at the bank and the person at the,
and raise their vibration. Yeah. Yes. All right. Last question. Who in our family and circle of friends is a light worker, Erik? Got to be 50 to 60%.
Yeah. He said it's in the family and in the family, he said, yes, it's about 50 to 60%, but the friends and the people that you've drawn to you, he's like, no, it's more like 80%, because you attract that energy.
Oh. Okay. Who in our family, for example?
Oh, you are, Lucas is, Erik absolutely is, the two babies,
the two, Easton and what about Arlene? The 10-year-old. They said she split off directly from source.
Yeah. And she also has she also has a bit of a crystal child
Oh, okay. All right.
energy to her.
Okay.
Yeah, so your husband
Oh, really? Okay.
is a light worker, and Erik says he's an example of somebody who doesn't do work
Oh, okay.
like that,
Hmm.
but he
But he
spreads
knows how to
light.
raise, yeah, spread the light.
Yes.
Okay, what about the other siblings? Michelle, Annika, your sisters, Michelle, Annika, Christina, any of those light workers?
He says Annika and Christina.
Okay. Okay, good. I guess that is Michelle anything? Because
She
she's an
is,
indigo for sure.
yeah, she's definitely indigo, and he said she's just so consumed with the earthly stuff.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Has trouble
Well,
getting
she's a
beyond that.
nurse though. So are you sure she's not a light worker? And Annika and Michelle, I mean, Christina's a doctor. Annika is going to be a doctor. She's in her second year of medical school. Are you sure, Erik, that
Yeah,
she's...
she's what he says right now is she's very heavy with the earth energy.
Okay. I think
So
she's a light worker, but she just had a baby, so maybe it's
yeah, that's too much earth energy.
too much. She
Going
has to.
on.
All right, that sounds good. Great. Thank you, guys. I love you. You guys check out Jennifer, and I'll put the title page right here. Psychic medium, jenniferdoran.com. And this was awesome.
Oh, thank
So
you.
much information in such a short period of time. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.